Ladies and gentlemen, today is my birthday. So it seems perfectly fitting that the topic of today's video feels much more like a birthday present rather than just a news topic. As the most obnoxious Democrat in Congress, Ghetto Jasmine Crockett is losing her seat and is furious and unhinged that there is absolutely nothing she can do about it. And this is just the latest piece of devastating news for Jasmine Crockett, who had a profile piece done about her in the Atlantic magazine, who reported in this piece that she is an egotistical, self-absorbed, raging narcissist, and Jasmine furious that they would dare write anything about her other than how she's a stunning, brave, beautiful, independent, strong black woman unsuccessfully and embarrassingly tried to get the story canceled. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are officially on the road to 400,000 subscribers, so if you guys could smash that like button for my birthday, I would greatly appreciate it. But let's get right into Jasmine Crockett whining and crying that she is losing her seat in Congress.
I know that this legislature did ask us as members of Congress to confirm our addresses. I don't know how many of us actually still reside in the districts that we represent. I do not currently reside in my district based upon the plan that has been drawn, which is another red flag, in addition to courts consistently looking at how many people have been moved.
Now, this is happening as a result of Texas redrawing their congressional districts. When this map passes, and it will, once the Texas House Democrats return from their refugee trip to Illinois, Jasmine Crockett will no longer reside in the district that she represents. This means that she will have to up and move and run for Congress in one of the two newly created districts. However, the point of Texas redrawing their congressional maps is to give Republicans an advantage. So she currently sits comfortably in like a plus 30 Democrat district. This allows her to comfortably be elected despite being a completely ineffective, unlikable, abrasive politician. But now her performative strategy of placating as the most stereotypical and caricatured version of the angry black woman who hates white people and Donald Trump will make it impossible for her to win in these newly rebalanced districts. And while she'll publicly decree that this is unfair, this is racist, the truth is she's just upset because her entire self-worth, her sense of self-importance is completely predicated on being a political celebrity with a lot of TikTok followers. But here she is in the same hearing crying racism and saying that the elected representatives of Texas are too white for her liking. Take a look.
Right. So thinking about it in that way, a reflective map would look like the fact that only 39% of this state is Anglo. So how in the heck do we have 60% of the seats that go to DC are going to be decided by Anglos? That's the math that doesn't work. We need to flip the numbers so that people of color, no matter who they...
Jasmine Crockett, like the entire Democrat Party, holds an extremely racist worldview that they don't even realize. In her mind, she comes to the conclusion that it's inherently unfair that the population of Texas is 40% white people, yet 60% of the elected politicians are white. Because to her, black people should vote for other black people, Hispanics should vote for other Hispanics, because she believes all black people are the same. They think the same, they feel the same, they want the same things. Same with Hispanic people. They can't fathom that a black person or a Hispanic person might vote for a white politician because they align more with their values. They still haven't realized that this extremely racialized worldview is what led to their destruction in 2024. Donald Trump won with Hispanic men, and it perplexed the Democrats because Donald Trump ran on a strong immigration stance. That's because they assumed all Hispanics are illegal immigrants or must have a legal immigrant family. Now here's this scathing report from the Atlantic where they destroy Jasmine Crockett and also reveal that she thinks Hispanics who vote for Donald Trump are slaves. I'm not kidding, watch.
And for a woman who claims to be so tough, she has exceedingly thin skin. They described her as highly conscious of her self-presentation. Crockett wore acrylic nails painted with the word resist and a set of heavy lashes over her brown eyes. The lock screen on her phone is a headshot of herself. And Crockett apparently thinks she should be able to control to whom a journalist speaks when they're actually reporting a profile. 4 days before this story was published, Crockett called me to express frustration that I'd reached out to so many House members without telling her first. She told me, shutting down the profile and revoking all permissions. Yeah. And yet another gem that speaks to Crockett's highly racialized view of the world from the same profile. Crockett said that Hispanic Trump supporters had almost like a slave mentality. I asked Crockett whether she had ever regrets about her public comments. She raised her eyebrows and replied, "I don't second guess." You know how that ends.
Now again, her warped perspective comes from the belief that just because people share the same skin color means that they're automatically all the same people and want the same things. They're reducing non-white citizens to basically low IQ voters who can't understand the proposed policies by a politician and therefore look no further than race. But they'll never apply that same racist logic to white people. If there's a white Democrat and a white Republican, clearly the policy differences are important to determine who you're going to vote for. But if you're not white, their logical conclusion is you have to vote for the person that you look like. It's essentially pedestalizing white people and infantilizing minorities. They're the ones perpetuating the racist notion that they claim Republicans stand for, that white people are intellectually superior. When Kamala spoke to a white crowd, it was about the policies. When Kamala went to Atlanta to speak to black people, she brought out Megan Thee Stallion to twerk for them. And they don't see it because they're all self-absorbed narcissists just like Jasmine Crockett. And the moment a black person or a Hispanic person votes in a way that the Democrats find unacceptable, they immediately start aggressively lashing out, calling that person a race traitor, a sellout, a slave, as Jasmine Crockett said. But in order to stop this redistricting that is happening in Texas, or at least try to delay it, the Democrats in the Texas state legislature have fled to Illinois to be harbored by big old J.B. Pritzker. This prompted the governor of Texas to issue a warning to all these Democrats that if they do not return to Texas and they continue to abdicate their duties to their constituents, he will proceed with having them removed from their positions. Here he is talking about that.
So they're leaving and they've left because they're very un-Texan. Texans don't run from a fight. And there's a fight going on in the legislature right now about redistricting as well as other things. But I'll make two quick points, Dana, about this. For one, to run to states like New York and Illinois to protest redistricting is kind of like running to Wisconsin to protest cheese. It's just kind of outrageous. Those are New York and Illinois are two hallmark states that have already done redistricting to eliminate Republicans. But the second thing is far more serious. And that is what these Democrats have done. Just a small fraction of them were needed to break a quorum, and that small fraction is holding hostage legislation in the state of Texas where we will be able to provide assistance and reform for all of the victims of that horrific flooding that we've had in the state of Texas. Our fellow Texans are being let down and not getting the flood relief they need because these Democrats have absconded from the responsibility, and I believe they have forfeited their seats in the state legislature because they're not doing the job they were elected to do.
Now, what the Texas Democrats are doing is just nothing short of a childish temper tantrum. The congressional redistricting proposal is completely legal and constitutional, but the Democrats simply don't like it because they're power hungry and they're mad that the Republicans are doing it to them, acting as if they're taking some sort of righteous moral stance, even though Democrats do the exact same thing every time that they're in power. And this is prompting Democrat governors like Gavin Newsom in California, J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, Kathy Hochul in New York to threaten to do their own congressional map redrawing. Except there's only one problem. Their progressive virtue signaling has now handcuffed them to where it would be illegal for them to do that. Because Democrats consider gerrymandering to be a racist process, every blue state with a supermajority has created their own independent redistricting committee that would stop the big old bad racist Republican governors from being able to redraw the maps in an unfair and racist way. But this same committee now makes it impossible for the Democrat governors to try to combat what Texas is doing. So while what Texas is doing is completely completely legal and constitutional in the state of Texas, Gavin Newsom and his band of butthurt rebellious Democrat governors are unable to do it. But Jasmine Crockett is thrilled about this, obviously, because it means a few more days of self-preservation before she's finally out of our lives for good. And here she is praising those rogue Texas Democrats. Watch.
This bill is going to continue to move on the Senate side because the Senate side is still in, but the House is not in. And as we know, it's got to pass both chambers before it can get to anybody's desk. So as of right now, there is nothing that they can do as it relates to the House. I am so very proud. Please, please, please look up these amazing state representatives, show them some love, encourage them, because this is really hard to make the decision that you're going to leave your family behind as you go and hide out, because we got a rogue bootleg criminal attorney general who absolutely is like wanting to be Trump 2.0 himself, and he wants to put warrants out for people, even though like he's the one that was under federal investigation for years, and he's the one that had felony indictments pending for years, and of course was avoiding prosecution for years. Yeah, because like that's what makes you real MAGA, is like you got to be about this thug life. You got to be like cheating on your wife. You got to at least be going to get impeached if you ain't been impeached, because he was impeached. He just wasn't convicted again. We've kind of seen this play out before. Anyway, but he got the nerve to talk about who should be arrested. Give me a break. Kind of like, you know, the orange orangutan, you know, the Timu Hitler.
Now, what's even more hilarious is the Democrats' entire house of cards is collapsing in real time. The Supreme Court, when they reconvene, is about to overturn a previous law that allowed states to draw districts based on race. Districts are typically drawn to be able to give the constituents of that district the ability to vote for somebody who represents their interests. But after the Civil Rights Act, a law was passed that allowed districts to be drawn based on racial demographics to remedy the historical oppression of minorities through gerrymandering. But now the Supreme Court is ready to overturn this because obviously any law that is predicated on the basis of race is illegal and unconstitutional. So it's being reported that when this law is overturned, Democrats might be poised to lose another 15 or 20 seats. And when you combine that with the mass exodus that happened from California, Illinois, and New York to red states, when the 2030 census comes around, those blue states are going to lose a bunch of seats and the red states are going to gain a bunch of seats. So all of this just adds to the enormous headwinds that the Democrat Party is facing as a whole. But Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, whose family owns the Hyatt chain of hotels, is offering the Texas Democrats, who he's illegally harboring in Illinois, free stay as long as they need. Which is funny because Democrats claim to hate billionaires. They're all immoral and evil, but they absolutely love J.B. Pritzker, who is the literal embodiment of the billionaire tax cheat that they claim to hate. This man removed all of the toilets from one of his mega mansions so it could be claimed as unlivable and he would avoid having to pay property taxes on it. But here he is talking about how he stands with the Texas Democrats for their courageous fight for democracy and fairness or whatever.
That brings us to today. Texas Democrats were left no choice but to leave their home state, block a vote from taking place, and protect their constituents. This is a righteous act of courage, and we can all take a page from these leaders' playbook. When you show people that you have the will to fight, well, they can muster the will to fight too. That's right. Courage is contagious.
Now, this move by the Texas Democrats just shows a true lack of professionalism, of responsibility, of decorum. They're advocating for Gavin Newsom to disband this independent redistricting committee and do the exact same thing Texas is doing, while claiming what Texas is doing is immoral and undemocratic, even though what Texas is doing is completely legal and within their power to do. Our system is supposed to keep functioning, no matter who is in power. If the precedent that the Texas Democrats are trying to set is every time they disagree with a piece of legislation, they're just going to run away from the state in order for it not to pass, that's undemocratic. That's political terrorism. That's advocating for a one-party system, and it dissolves the glue that holds our entire political system together, which is sometimes your party wins and sometimes the other party wins. And if your party isn't in power, it's up to you to make the case to the voters why you should be. Not halt the entire functions of government because you're throwing a hissy fit. But it just continues to show the state of disarray that the Democrat Party is in. They do not know how to combat Republican effectiveness other than to just throw their hands up and flee to a different state. They're on their heels and haphazardly reacting to everything that the Republican Party is doing, and it just makes them look completely discombobulated and unorganized. And now the incompetence of their politicians like Jasmine Crockett, who, by the way, the Democrat Party is turning on because she has an insane case of main character syndrome, calling out AOC and Bernie Sanders for their Fight the Oligarchy tour as being self-serving, while simultaneously your phone lock screen is a picture of your own face, is making their vote for me, my policies are Trump bad strategy more and more unfeasible. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.